everyone. This is the regular council meeting of the Southfield City Council, November 18th, 2024. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Council President Pro Tem Banks.
Present.
Councilman Brightwell. Councilman Cruz.
Present.
Councilwoman Haynes.
Present.
Councilman Hicks.
Here.
Councilwoman Hogue.
Here.
And Council President Mandelbaum is absent with notice.
Excuse.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Yes, thank you. If we'd rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the presentations, and I believe our fire chief will be making the first two, the Good Samaritan Award, and then also presenting helmets to the Fire Ops 101 participants.
Face them forward. Okay, come on back a little bit. There you go. You're ready. All right, here we go. Good evening, Council. Good evening. I see the mayor. City Administrator, visitors and friends of Southfield. I'm Fire Chief Johnny Menifee, and today I have the honor of giving a Good Samaritan Award to Eris Carter. Eris Carter she's in the 5th grade at K through 8 Thompson Elementary Academy, and she enjoys art and part of the Girl Scouts. And hopefully, the awards you're going to receive this evening will help you get some more badges or patches. Badges? Is that the correct? Badges for your Girl Scouts. So earlier this year, I was alerted to what Ms. Carter has done, what Eris has done, is when she noticed the smell of smoke in her condo complex. This condo complex has a 7-unit complex with there, and she alerted her mother. Without hesitation, they started investigating. They found that the smoke detectors were going off in one of the bottom units. They started investigating, but they didn't stop there. First thing they did was they alerted 911 to get the ball rolling. As they were waiting and seeing what was happening, they noticed that one of the bottom units was on fire. I did pull the report to look at it, that there was actually smoke and flame showing when the first arriving vehicle arrived on scene. But it's because of the quick action and alertness of see something, say something that Eris did that alerted the fire department. Now, the unit that was on fire had tremendous loss. There was a tremendous fire damage loss to that unit, but 6 other units were saved because of her actions. So today, because of her actions and her not afraid to speak up and say something and protecting her community, that she saved a lot of property and possible death of people in the other units by alerting her mother. So today, it's the Southfield Fire Department's award of Good Samaritan to Eris Carter for quick response and awareness, alerting her mother, ensuring the timely evacuation and notification of the fire department. Her actions played a critical role in preventing what would have been a catastrophic event. So I want to give you your award. Fire right, floor is still mine? All right, awesome.
Presenting of the helmets.
Okay. So for my second presentation, it's for Fire Ops 101. If I could have the following members of council step forward for me. Can I have Councilwoman Hogue, Councilwoman Haynes, Councilman Hicks, Deputy HR Director Dr. Calhoun, Deputy City Attorney Pruitt, and also our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Green. If you please just come over. Come over here. Come on, get in the light. Come on. The next batch. Come over here.
Okay, the chief doesn't.
Right. Here we go. So, okay. So, these individuals were, I put a call out action to join us for Fire Ops 101. So what Fire Ops 101 is, it's the Oakway Fire Chiefs. It's 11 communities. It's Birmingham, Bloomfield Township, Farmington Hills, Ferndale, Independence Township, Madison Heights, Rochester Hills, Royal Oak, Waterford, and West Bloomfield, of course, and the center of it all, Southfield. So the Oakway Chiefs and the local fire unions, which the fire unions purchased these helmets that were going to be presented to our elected and appointed officials today, but they do a day in the life of a firefighter. They get to put on and don all the fire gear. They wear the breathing apparatus, our self-containing breathing apparatus, and they get to actually experience what a firefighter experiences day in and day out. They got to experience extrication using the jaws of life and cutting up a vehicle. They put out a car fire. They went through, they fought a commercial fire inside of a building. They had a hazardous material incident where it was a white powder incident. They had to identify what that is. They had an active assailant with actually downed victims and had to get the victims out of there, as well as a special response type of hazmat and the capabilities. If, say, like a window washer on the side of a building, if they have a medical emergency and we have to go up there and get them. So they got to experience that in real time. I mean, it was, I can't say that they just met the bare minimum. They exceeded my expectations of being involved, as well as being able to collaborate with other elected officials. I think it was a true good experience with them, and because of their spirit and wanting to do this and being involved, we want to present them with the helmet as a take-home, as a keepsake for everything that you did. And we really thank you on behalf of the Oakway Chiefs and the unions who actually purchased the helmets for you. I want to make sure that everyone gets their helmets. We kind of customize it to Southfield with their names on it and everything, but let's start with Councilman Hogue. Councilman Hicks. Okay. Dr. Calhoun. And last but not least, Dr. Green. I also like to say with Dr. Green, we have this fire academy at the high school. I believe we have, 12? Is it 12? We have 12 individuals in the school this year. We just graduated last year. Our first graduate of the Fire Academy with State of Michigan certification. The program keeps growing each year, but it's because of the collaboration that we have with the schools and so forth. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the fire department, from the Oakway Chiefs and the unions for participating. I was worried, but I know you had a little hesitation at first of just what you're getting into, but I appreciate everything that you did and that you're coming out. It means a lot that you came out for the firefighters to work with you and see what they do day in and day out. So I thank you. Let's get it.
Congratulations to everyone
Thank you.
in participating in this event. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a Total Living Commission presentation that our Community Relations Director, Michael Mannion, will start off and present.
Yes. Good evening, Honorable Council. For the viewing audience, my name is Michael Mannion, Community Relations Director for the city. It is my honor this evening to introduce you to Shania Jarrett, who is the first Vice Chair for the city's Total Living Commission. She's actually filling in for our Chair, Deborah Walton-Medley, who could not be with us here this evening. And also in attendance this evening, we have Pierre Gilliam, who is the second Vice Chair for Total Living Commission. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Vice Chair, Ms. Garrett, who will go over a high-level overview of the commission. And any questions you may have after, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, I'm Shania Jarrett, Vice Chairperson of the Total Living Commission, and I'm going to give you an overview of what the Total Living Commission does. I'm going to refer to it as TLC because Total Living Commission is a mouthful. So currently, we do have 11 members on our commission. We are fully staffed. There was a period we had quite a few vacancies, but we are currently fully staffed. And so the first slide does list who our members are there. I won't go through them. Do you guys have a copy? There we go. All right, so this lists the
Could you
11
speak into the microphone, please? Thank you.
Sorry, yep. This lists our 11 members that are currently on the commission. As I was saying, we are fully staffed as of now. We did have vacancies. I won't go through the list of names there just in the interest of time, but we are fully staffed there. So let's get into what the primary mission of the TLC Commission is. Per the bylaws, our primary mission is to review, evaluate, and advise on methods to build a better Southfield, make recommendations to council that promotes Southfield as a place to live, work, raise, and educate a family, be the liaison by learning and sharing issues between the residents and council, and then per the mission statement, our primary missions are to attract families to Southfield, concentrating on achieving and maintaining a stable and diverse community, work to strengthen neighborhood associations, promote and provide fair and lawful treatment to residents and prospective buyers. So those are our primary missions. And next, we're going to talk about how does the TLC contribute to those missions. We contribute with our annual projects includes the Photo Prize Awards competition, the Greg Kennedy Community Service Award, as well as our Community Pride Awards. In terms of municipal departments, we learn about the municipal department's goals, activities, and challenges to share with residents as issues arise. And then in terms of municipal issues, we provide input on issues under consideration and addressed by the council. So those are our contributions to the mission. Next, we're going to talk about our current goals and objectives. So our current goals, it says to recruit and fill TLC board vacancies, but as I mentioned, just as of our last meeting, we are now totally staffed, so we can sort of check that goal off, but we always want to keep it as an objective to make sure that we stay fully staffed. Our other goals are to update the bylaws and mission statement. I think they hadn't been updated in quite some time, so that's something that we're currently undertaking in terms of updating the bylaws. Interact with residents at Southfield events. So I think it was starting last summer, our chairperson had suggested that when Southfield has the weekly Friday concerts, we had set up a table and we would pass out information to residents about Southfield. So I think this is the second season we've done that in terms of interacting with residents at the Southfield events. And then also we did the Kimmy Horn Jazz Concert, same thing, set up a table there. So that's one of our current objectives. The other is to develop educational programs that benefit residents, students, council, and staff. Invite department heads to learn about municipal operations. I know we've heard from most of them, if not all, but certainly the city clerk. These are some of the ones that I think, heard from was the city clerk, DEI, school superintendent, library, public works, parks and rec, determine the needs of city council, meet with neighborhood associations to learn of any issues, and then generate a TLC brochure with a contact number for residents to report issues to be considered by TLC and council. And that was one of the things when we attended the summer events. There was a little information sheet that Deb, our chairperson, had put together that was helpful. So those are our current goals and objectives. Now let's move on to our significant achievements. One is what I just sort of talked about. We increased our presence at social events, attended every Friday concert to gather and/or disseminate information to and from residents. We increased the number of photo submissions for the photo prize competition. As I'm sure you're all aware, the photo prize tends to be pretty popular here in Southfield. In 2022, we had over 200 submissions with almost 3,000 votes cast. In 23, we had over 220 submissions with over 3,200 votes cast. And then in 2024, we had over 250 submissions with over 3,700 votes cast. So pretty popular activity there. All right, so those are some of our significant achievements. A few more. Last year, we assisted with judging of the 2023 Community Pride Awards. It was an online judging, and we received over 310 nominations and photos that were submitted and reviewed. And then also, we had several departmental organization meeting presentations in terms of them coming to present to us. So we had the City Attorney's Office, Code Enforcement, MML Foundation Bridge Builders Grant Program. We had the Southfield Substance Abuse Prevention and Education Coalition, Community Development Block Grant, and of course the Friends of the Southfield Public Libraries. And I think there were a few more that we met with. So, all right, so that includes our significant achievements. Now let's talk about some of our challenges. Canceled meetings due to a lack of quorum. Occasionally, people can't make a meeting, and so, if you don't have enough, if there's not enough people for a quorum, then you can't, certain business can't get taken care of. So that's one of our challenges. One of our challenges had been vacancies, and like I said, again, as of our last meeting, we're currently fully staffed, so that had been one of our challenges. Another had been the development of board meeting content, just making sure that when we do have a meeting, it's not just to, meet and, catch up with everyone, but to make sure that the meetings are substantive. So that's one of our challenges that we're working on and addressing. Board member participation. Again, life happens. Sometimes people can't make it to the meeting. And then residents' knowledge of TLC existence and mission. And I know our chairperson, this is at the top of her list. We just want to make sure that residents know what the TLC is, what we do, and then also make sure that, of course, we know council is aware of what the TLC does, but, see if there's any other ways we can help council out, if needed. So those are some of our challenges. Not a lot, but a few. So let's talk about our impact on the community. Again, as we talked about the photo prize competition, that tends to be really popular. We get a lot of submissions for that. It gives residents a real sense of pride when their works of art is acknowledged by the community and put on display for public viewing and voting. And again, it does, because we get a lot of submissions for that, and they all capture the essence of Southfield. So that's pretty popular. And then the interaction and engagement with residents, make sure residents are realizing the value and importance that the mayor, the council, and other municipal leaders place on their opinions and concerns, making sure residents realize that the mere existence of TLC and its mission is a sign of the high priority that our municipal officials have placed on ensuring an excellent quality of life for the community. That was a mouthful. But so those are a couple of our impacts on the community. And so some of our future plans and upcoming events to attend neighborhood association meetings, again, just so that we can share what the TLC is, what our mission is, and obtain information from residents on, if they have ideas that may impact the Total Living Commission. Attend major city events, which, again, we already started doing that with the summer concert series. Plan activities for the National Neighborhood Day. Our chairperson, she had attended a conference, and this had came up that there's a National Neighborhood Day, so I know that's something that she wants us in the city of Southfield to get involved with, and I think she's going to be developing that further down the line. Present community-wide film discussion on police-community relations. Again, our chairperson, through her work with MML, Michigan Municipal League, there was a film that she had saw that she thought would be really beneficial to show through different Southfield departments, and I know that's something she's working on. And then finally, encourage our high school student employment at election sites during primary and national elections. That came up at the last meeting, in terms of, when we go to vote, certainly you don't see a lot of young folks working there, and we thought that may be a good idea to try to maybe work with City Council and then the Southfield schools to get young people working in the elections, sort of get them ready to start voting. So I know that's something that we had talked about as a commission. So those are our future plans. So let's talk about council support of TLC's effectiveness. Council can support us by acknowledging our presence and mission to the public on a regular basis, expediting the approval of new board commissioners. I think that had been a hot button for a while. Like I said, had vacancies for a while, and so I know that's been a hot button that we want to make sure that when those vacancies arise, that they do get approved fairly quick. Provide additional administrative support to the Community Relations Department, and then provide the city clerk's proposed training on Robert's Rules of Order and other effective meeting protocols. Again, we do have some new members, so it's always just helpful to make sure everyone sort of understands the rules of the road, specifically when it comes to running meetings. So those are some of the things that the council can help support us with. And then this is how the council can contribute this is our contribution to the city's mission. TLC and the City of Southfield are both concerned with maintaining and improving overall quality of life issues in the community. TLC has worked to maintain and improve the City of Southfield for its residents from the perception to policy making. That sentence is a little clunky, but we just want to make sure that Southfield is perceived as a welcoming and robust community for all its residents. TLC will work with other city departments in attracting new home seekers, enriching community life, and fostering communication between people with the City of Southfield. So let's talk about our adherence to the initial resolutions, which is sort of the infrastructure, the city charter in terms of how TLC, as it relates to TLC. So in accordance with Resolution 77.689, governed by an 11-member board consisting of residents, business representatives, city and/or school personnel that reviews, evaluates, and advises council on issues within the city. And then also in accordance with Resolution 77.864, TLC is committed to a better Southfield by focusing on making it a desirable place to live. So that has been a mouthful, but that is the Total Living Commission. Any questions?
Thank you very much for the detailed presentation. It was excellent. Council, do you have any questions? Mr. Brightwell, I know you had something you wanted to say.
I just wanted to make a comment, but well, anyway, this program is a product of the Boards and Commissions Committee of the Council. And one of our charges this year was to make sure that all the boards and commissions in this city of Southfield, they will rotate through the months of making presentations to the council. And this is a function, because tonight was excellent. You touched base on everything that we wanted to touch base on. I hope the residents will see that you're functioning, and that's the reason for these presentations. And also, it is to make sure that all our boards and commissions feel needed, and also the boards and commissions are the actual lifeblood of the city, and how well you all function, all our boards and commissions, how good well you function, you will get more and more citizens involved. And so that was just a little advertisement for the whole city to know that this is the beginning of a process that we have of making sure on a monthly basis we will have every board and commission in the city of Southfield make a presentation. And quite frankly, I hope that we will use your presentation along with Mr. Mannion's input as a template of how these things should be done, because this was excellent. It was excellent from the standpoint you covered all the bases. And I can just let you know that the Boards and Commission Committee has initiated, we will have a class coming up on the Robert's Rules of Order, and we will invite all the boards and commissions in a class, and we'll make sure that presentation is being made. So that is to answer one of your needs and desires. And I'll just as a little teaser, the next one to me making a presentation to us will be the Fire and Police Retirement Board. So they will be making a presentation next month, perhaps in December, on similar items. So, but each board and commission will be rotated coming through here. So that was just a little commercial, and
Thank you, Mr. Brightwell.
Okay.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes, I just wanted to know, can we get a copy of the PowerPoint?
Sure, Michael, let's get it. Yeah.
Thank you. That's it, but good presentation, though, thank you. I just
Yeah.
couldn't see all the little words, so I just want to read over it a little bit more.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Councilwoman Hoag?
Yes, thank you. Great presentation. The only thing I would like to add is that throughout the presentation, it was noted that you work with the concerns of the council and all that. But since 2022, I've never have seen you all come before us to get our issues. So I would like to make sure we ensure that we do that. And we need to make a way of how do we do that. One of the things I would suggest is maybe having someone from your board come to the neighborhood services meeting or here, but if we push that out there, that's the mission, we certainly should do it. So I'm just saying, we haven't had you before us since November of 2022 that I can say. And so we need to make sure that that's the case, especially if you're saying that you're meeting with the concerns for us. So we have to make sure that we're doing that. So let's make sure in the new year that there's some type of meeting cadence or something that you come before us so that is truly a part of your mission, because as of that time, we haven't.
I agree, good point. You're correct, we haven't come before the council, and I think that's where we want to get to, get to the point where we are regularly coming before the council with, any issues or anything we're working on, so.
And we can figure that out, whatever that looks like, but let's just work on that to make sure that that's truly part of the mission. And then I would say, how often do you guys meet?
Every 6 weeks.
Every 6 weeks. And then you indicated that it was a challenge to get a quorum. How many of your meetings were canceled this year because of lack of quorum?
I don't know offhand.
I would say at least 3, if not even potentially more. However, as Ms. Jarrett pointed out, now that we have a full commission, that'll help us to not have the quorum issue.
Okay.
So that, I think, is going to go a long way in eliminating that. We had been up to 4 vacancies at a time. So then, of course, if you have 1 or 2 others that aren't available, we're quickly running into that issue. But I think now that we're pretty well fully stocked up in terms of our roster, we should be able to eliminate that.
One of the things I don't want us to forget, people sign up, but if they're not participating, we need to, for lack of a better word, kick them off and get someone who's willing to really step up. Because it's one thing to say that you're going, and I remember I was part of the boards and commission for many, many years, and it takes a lot. It's a lot of commitment, but if you say you're going to do it, let's do it. Because we don't want these meetings to be canceled for people who say they're going to participate and not. So if that's the case, there should be some type of your bylaws that if you miss so many, then you're just automatically dropped from that particular committee. And then let's go back and keep finding till we get somebody who does want to participate.
Yep, so that was one of the issues that we have looked at. So just this exercise itself, it forced us to look at the bylaws. And in looking at the bylaws, that is one of the topics that came up. And we are making some changes, or I know there's been changes suggested to that,
Okay.
If you're going to be on the commission, we need you to be there, as much as possible. And I think before the bylaws were sort of loosely written in terms of attendance, but that is one of the topics that we have discussed and have proposed some changes to tighten up to say, you got to attend this, X amount of meetings in order to remain on the commission, so.
And lastly, it indicated on one of the slides that in order for us to help you, you would be looking at administrative support out of, Michael, your office, and I'm not sure if we were presented with that during budget time, because are we talking about another FTE specifically?
It's a position that's funded, that's not been
Filled,
filled.
okay.
So the commission had put that in, not myself. They're specifically were relative to meeting minutes. So I had an administrative assistant for many years who retired a couple of years ago now, and there's no one in that position or that capacity. So I'm running the meeting along with the chair, so I'm not able to do that, nor do I know really how to take minutes, as it were. But so that's one of their concerns. But more to the point, just with some of the other programs that the Neighborhood Information Center and Community Relations proper oversee, we're limited in our ability to execute on it. So it's become challenging, but that's what they're.
So we have it budgeted, and it's not anything council could do, but rather with you and HR to find someone and hire someone.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hoag. Councilwoman Hayes?
If I may, we did discuss, like, president of the boards and commission, having you all come forth, and a lot of that was to bring to light the organizations. And that's just a start to what we are doing with the leadership when people come in terms of filling out an application. We have made some leadway in expediting the applications, and we can do better with that. We also talked about when we interview these people, the most important question that each of us usually ask, first off, is, are you able to make the commitment? That is the most important thing, that if they're not able, and we're tightening up where we are not having people to be on so many boards, because sometimes they can't make the commitment if they're, you can have the zeal to serve, but, if you're 10% here and 5% there, you're no good to any of us. So we want you 100% on the board that you're serving on, and also to lead with integrity, and also to follow the bylaws, and have everyone play a part, the president and the vice president as well, but everyone play a part in working and helping. That is something that we're doing all together. And like he said, this is, Councilman Brightwell said, this is a start. And just to bring it to light to the public, there are people that are still coming, asking about boards and commissions that don't know. And there are people that I meet when we're talking on the streets that want to know how they can get involved. So we take them through the process of saying, first, sign up, go online and look and see. A lot of improvements we are really trying to do, and we know for a while, I just got on, so there were some things that hadn't been done at all. So it's going to take us some time, but we're working diligently together to make sure that this does happen, even with the bylaws and also the part about what they expect of us and what we expect of them. And I think that it will happen, and we agreed, all three of us, that we will make this, Councilman Hicks and Brightwell as well, that we will make this the best boards and commission that they've had in a while, and that's what we're working to promote and make sure happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Haynes. Councilman Brightwell?
Yeah, I failed to mention, I think, that the boards and commission committee is Ms. Haynes and Mr. Hicks. So I failed to mention that previously. And for the general audience, on page 4 of our wonderful calendar, there's a listing of all our boards and commissions. If you're interested in it, exploring anything, just go to page 4 within the calendar, on the most recent calendar. You'll find a listing with respect to all the boards, and just submit your application. But I did want to highlight, it's 3 of us, Mr. Hicks, Ms. Haynes, and myself, and quite frankly, we put some life into this whole committee. So, but then again, I hate to keep complimenting you and Mr. Mannion, but excellent job.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Brightwell. Is there anyone else? Thank you for the
Thank you, guys.
presentation.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Council. I also just wanted to again thank Ms. Jarrett and Ms. Gilliam, as well as all of our Total Living Commission members for the time and energy they dedicate to the city. So they're very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is communications. The Southfield City Council has established the following rules of procedure for all speakers. No speaker may make personal or impertinent attacks upon any officer, employee, or city council member or other elected official that is unrelated to the manner in which the officer, employee, or city council member or other elected official performs his or her duties. No person shall use abusive or threatening language towards any individual when addressing the city council. Any person who violates this section shall be directed by the presiding officer to be orderly and silent. If a person addressing the council refuses to become silent when so directed, such person may be deemed by the presiding officer to have committed a breach of the peace by disrupting and impeding the orderly conduct of the public meeting of the Southfield City Council, and may be ordered by the presiding officer to leave the meeting. If the person refuses to leave the meeting as directed, the presiding officer may direct any law enforcement officer who is present to escort the violator from the meeting. The council may not provide responses to public comment during the meeting if you have provided your contact information when you signed up for public communication. The city will provide a more formal response to you in the near future. We have two individuals that have requested to be recognized this evening. The first one is Sharon Burke. Good evening.
I just wanted to voice my concern about the number of pit bulls I've been seeing in our Southfield area. I've been a resident here for over 28 years, and there's a lot of pit bulls in our area, and I was wondering if there was still an ordinance against that particular, the pit bulls in our area. What made matters worse, I was going into Lowe's this past Saturday, and a lady and a gentleman jumped out with a pit bull. They can barely attain it. And I asked, was that a service dog? And they said, well, no. We're allowed to bring, animals in the stores. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just politely turned around and went to another store. Yeah. So my question today is, what can be done about that? And is there an ordinance against pit bulls in the Southfield area?
Thank you. We do have an ordinance on animals and dogs, but I don't think it addresses the pit bulls. But I will defer to our city attorney to answer the question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Council President Pro Tem. Good evening. Hi. So we have an animal ordinance, Chapter 113 of the Code of Ordinances. It applies to all dogs.
Okay.
So we have something about vicious animals, harboring a vicious animal. What I will do is reach out to Officer Shannon Raby, who is our animal control officer. I'll get a report from her, and then I'll share with council.
Okay.
Once upon a time, I think cities, there was some issues about banning certain kinds of breeds.
Right.
So, but I will talk to her and get some information, and then if we have your name and contact
Email address,
information.
right, it's on
But
there.
I'll send her a message right now.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Pamela Gerald.
Good evening to the council. Good
Good
evening
evening.
to our city administrator, to the attorney, and to everyone in the auditorium. I have a 42-year history with this city, and I can't recall in my 42 years that our city has gone almost 11 months without minutes to these council meetings. Now, we had a group of people walking around the city during that last election when we were electing a clerk to say that to have an appointed clerk, it was voter suppression. And that's not the case, because that office requires a special skill set. It's a lot of time involved. The clerk's office does a lot of things. I don't hear those same people that were talking about voter suppression talking about the fact that our citizens in this city do not have a clear understanding of what's been going on in these meetings since January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and we're now in November, which is the 11th month. If my memory serves me correctly, we just approved January minutes. So when these meetings are being conducted, are we actually having notes taken of these meetings to formulate minutes? Or are we going by the council tapes? Because I need to have a better understanding. And then we have a lot of parliamentarians in the city of Southfield that are registered parliamentarians and they know the parliamentarian procedure. What does Robert's Rules of Order say about minutes? How long do you wait for minutes? February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and we're on November. Will we get February and December? I just want to have a clear understanding. I know people have been calling me, asking me about the minutes. So can someone shed some light? I know you don't answer questions, but I'll be doing another FOIA. And I just wanted to say that I did another FOIA, and I saw one of our council members' names on a particular application. It was not the DJ, it was the councilman whose name was on that request. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. And we have 5 items. Is there any questions on any of the items? Mr. Brightwell?
I would like to pull item C for informational purposes only.
Any other items?
Madam Pro Tem,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we approve items A, B, D, and E.
Okay, so moved by Councilman Cruz, supported by Councilwoman Haynes, that the consent items A, B, D, and E be approved, and I'm going to read them for the record. The first one is authorization to participate in Oakland County Brownfield Consortium for fiscal year 2024 community-wide 15, I can't read this, 15, I'm sorry, 1,500,000 United States Environmental Protection Agency Coalition Assessment Grant. B is the Brownfield Development Plan and Tax Increment Financing Plan and Development and Reimbursement Agreement for 29410 Northwestern Highway Redevelopment Project, and set a public hearing date for December 9th, 2024. Number D is approval of agreement for Coral Gable Street rehabilitation, contract number 24-5322. And number E is authorization to seek 2024 Oakland County Access to Transit Program grant. We have a motion and a second. Council, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those items have been approved. Mr. Brightwell, the next item is authorization to purchase a Vector for the Water and Street Division.
Yes.
And you had a question?
My question deals with, this is $1 million, almost $1 million, a piece of machinery. And obviously, this is a simple question, but what is it used for? And the add-on follow-up question is, what is the useful life of it? And how often is this piece of machinery used? And just, that's the basic question. I was reading this. It started out when we first bought it was, $129,000, 2001. Now it's up to almost $1 million. So I just want some clarification.
So we actually have 3 Vectors currently. 2 of them with the Water Division and 1 with the Streets and Highways Division. So Vectors, we use them to clean out catch basins, clean out manholes, jet, cleaning of sewers, storm sewers, sanitary sewers, clear blockages in sewers and so on. So this particular Vector is the oldest one that we have. It's from 2001. Really, the life expectancy of these is around 10 years. So this one, in 2001, it was 209,000. We've spent 127,000 almost in repairs until now. The Vector's only available maybe half the year to us, Our goal is to jet and clean all of the sanitary sewers in the city every 5 years. So we use these on a daily basis, but currently, right now, as we speak right now, both of them are down. Both of the water and sewer Vectors are out of service. One of those, the newer one, has been in a repair shop for a couple months now.
Okay.
This older one was working as of yesterday. Today they took it out to do some work, and it failed as they were working on, with it, and they had to bring it back to the garage. So, we're in a critical position, basically. We really need this new Vector.
Okay.
And this one of the reasons we're bringing it now is typically there's a 6-month to a year wait period for these, but there's one that's currently under development by the Jack Doheny Company. They're manufacturing one that's available within a month. So as soon as we get this council approval here tonight, hopefully, we'll go ahead and purchase that and receive it before the end of the year.
Okay, well, good. It's just a mystery to me what it was used for, and this is not a common term.
No, I understand.
So that's pretty, I do clearly understand now what it's used for and the need for it. So, Madam Chair, with that, I would like to move that we approve the item as presented, the authorization to purchase the Vector Flow Water and Sewer Division.
Support?
Okay, moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilman Hicks, to approve the purchase of a Vector for the Water and Sewer Department. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Council.
The next item is authorization to accept MDOT Michigan Shared Streets and Spaces Grant Program. $200,000 for funding of bus stop improvements, key walks, concrete pads, benches, and trash cans.
Good
Mr. Crowe?
evening.
Good evening.
Yes, if you may recall, council gave us authorization on May 6 to apply for the Michigan Shared Streets and Spaces Grant Program. The intent is quick build projects to improve user safety, enhance mobility, and support local placemaking efforts. The goal is to make communities more walkable, bikeable, and transit and micro-mobility friendly. Specifically includes upgrades to transit and bus stop, such as sidewalk extensions, what we call key walks, concrete pedestrian waiting area pads, and seating. The application amount was $200,000. We were awarded the full $200,000 amount requested. We have been spending about $100,000 to do 12 to 15 bus stops per year. This will allow us to accelerate our program by 2 full years. So we will have a pool of $300,000 to make these improvements. We were awarded this full amount based on the work that we've done to date. If you recall, and for some of the newer members on council, back in 2019, the planning department did a comprehensive study of all 270 bus stops in the city. We looked at transit propensity, So we looked at population density, income, households with one or fewer automobiles, areas with older adult concentration, persons with disability, and transit ridership. And we prioritized these from greatest need with the greatest amount of benefit to the lowest need. I'm happy to say that over the last 5 years, we have improved 178 bus stops, representing about 48% of all those bus stops. Now, some may have just required a key walk. That's the sidewalk connection from the main public walk to the curb so that a bus can pick somebody up. They're not standing in the mud, to adding enhancements such as benches and trash receptacles and then other enhancements. This is the map that we provide as part of the application, identifying approximately 36 bus stop locations improved in the last 2 years, what was proposed for this year, plus an additional up to 34 bus stops. They're all been color-coded. And typically, depending on where they're located in the city, we have 2 different brands or styles of benches and trash receptacles. We always provide at least a 32-inch to 36-inch concrete pad adjacent to the bench for wheelchair accessibility. So every one of our bench pads are fully accessible. And again, this $200,000 grant will allow us to accelerate what we've already been doing year in and year out. So we're asking for authorization to accept the grant. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Mr. Brightwell?
Yeah. Mr. Crowe, and this is obviously a good project, but we have a problem with, have we ever had a problem with theft? Anyone stealing the benches or any of these placements?
No, occasionally there might be an auto car accident that runs into one of these due to inclement weather, and that's even very few. Knock on wood, we have not had any problems with vandalism or theft. But other than just like even out front here, sometimes our facility equipment runs into them or a car might go off the road, but that's very rare.
Okay. Is this covered by MMRA, insurance, if something is damaged?
We have put in claims by MMRA. However, there's a $2,500 deductible.
Right.
So in this particular case, it might cover just about 50% of the total purchase installation. But I unfortunately am making too many claims over the years for signage, art, other public facilities. But they've been pretty good to work with, and they're pretty quick to provide us with a check once we provide the appropriate documentation.
Okay, well, good. I would knock on wood, too, to cut down vandalism and theft. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Councilman Hicks?
Yes, first I want to thank you and applaud you for seeking and acquiring the grant. Question that I have is day-to-day maintenance. Are there any adjustments being made for the? Are there any adjustments being made for whoever maintains, collects trash? Any impact there?
So if it's located specifically at a bus stop, both DDOT and SMART will provide routine maintenance, but they're not there Johnny on the spot. So we have a working relationship with our codes department. So the city center district actually provides quarterly funds to make sure that the trash cans are emptied on a weekly basis. We reimburse for the hourly rate plus the liners. Now, if we noticed a trash receptacle that is full because of a special event, they're great about getting right out there within a day and cleaning them. They also have in their budget, which you have approved in the past, funds for the rest of the city. So as we install them in groups of 12, 15, we update the GIS and then that information is shared with our codes department. So we understand maintenance is an important part of it, but we do have workforce in place and funding to address that they're done in a timely manner.
Thank you, sir.
That was sort of the question that I had, but in addition to that, the part where the receptacle and the seats are, I ride on Telegraph and I walk on there, usually where the bus stops are, not just a trash can, but the grass is full of trash. And even when you walk, the businesses are usually clean, except when you get in front of the bus stops. Who's responsible for that? I'm just curious because it seems like I guess it's on city property, but
Well, specifically, Telegraph is MDOT right-of-way, okay? We have many of our mile roads that are Road Commission of Oakland County. If we install any bench or trash, we have to get permits from them. We encourage and like the adjacent property owner to maintain them. And if you recall, when we do site plan approval, and if there's a bus stop immediately adjacent, we require the owner to make those connections. There also is the transit agency that's responsible for the cleanup. Now, that doesn't stop everybody from littering. I've even gone by where people will put an empty cup on top of the trash can instead of putting it in. But we do our best to try to police those on a regular basis, and the 1-800-EYES and many different ways of employees seeing that reports it to codes, and they're good at getting out there and cleaning them up as quickly. But as far as the maintenance, even though technically the right-of-way between the curb and the sidewalk is someone else's jurisdiction, the adjacent property owner has a responsibility for cutting the grass, for picking up the litter, and so forth.
well, the 10-mile Telegraph, that bus stop is usually trash all the time. I mean, I didn't know who to call, but maybe they can just take a better look at it. I mean, it's trash on the business side, trash in the hedges, trash at the bus stop. It's filthy, you know, and I, just think that if it's their responsibility, I would hope that they would send somebody to do a better job.
And I've seen some adjacent property owners put their additional garbage cans out there to help, and it just depends on the user.
Okay, well, thank you.
Are there any more questions? Councilwoman Holt?
Ready? I move that we authorize to accept the MDOT Michigan Shared Streets and Spaces Grant Program in the amount of $200,000 for funding of bus stop improvements.
Support.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Hoag, supported by Councilman Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you.
I'd like an opportunity in the future, maybe at one of our agendas that are lighter, to present what I presented to SEMCOG General Assembly on the 9-mile corridor. I had this queued up in case there was any questions under consent items, but it's a brief 10-slide PowerPoint, and maybe next week when we have a lighter agenda, I can present it. Through the chair, our next item is PZR ODD 24-002. It's a rezoning request to amend the existing overlay development district agreement for the Northland Sub-Area Redevelopment Plan Overlay Development District to update the master development plan, project timeline, and condominium master deed. This project was first approved on July 15th of 2021. There's been one subsequent amendment that was made when Costco Business Center went in because there was additional land that was acquired. Again, the site underlying zoning is regional shopping district, but it's been approved with an overlay development district. It is located in the Downtown Development Authority. This is necessitated by reconfiguration and increase of condominium lots. The original master deed had 11. They're proposing to increase to 16. The original timeline ran through 2025. Their proposed amendment for Phase 1 runs through 2029. And there was some buildings that were eliminated, but they increased the stories and ultimately the number of residential apartments by 250 units. This is a comparison, a side-by-side of what the master deed that was approved in July of '21 and what's being proposed now. Basically, they're splitting the units on phases 1A and 1B. This is a summary of the different lot splits. They're technically condominium units, not lot splits. They also, original approved phasing plan from 2021 is being updated to reflect construction progress. So you have a side-by-side comparison. So phase 1A now is currently proposed to be completed by June 1st of 2025. Originally was March of 2023. Again, based on the reconfiguration of buildings and heights and units, we have revised phasing plan. And there's a chart. And then there was design standards that were originally developed as part of the original overlay development district agreement. There was some slight modifications made as part of the implementation of the Costco site. We just want to make sure that we're consistent, that as the future phases get built out, we have a consistent streetscape elevation and elements and design. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the petitioner to make some specific comments of what their need is. We have to hold a public hearing. I'll be happy to answer any questions that the council may have. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dale Moeller with Contour. I think Terry did a great job summarizing what our requests are. If you have any questions or further details, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, so we'll ask any questions after the public hearing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to open up the public hearing, if anyone has any questions. As there is no one, or Pam, okay.
We're looking at A, right, Madam Chair?
Excuse me?
A on the agenda right now?
Correct.
Okay. Pamela Jarrow, P.O. Box 155, Southfield, Michigan 48037-0155. My telephone number is still 248-346-0439. I just wanted to say that I really appreciate Contour and what they're doing with that site. I am totally in support of their rezoning quest. For so many years, we waited to get someone that had the vision with the actual property, with the people in mind, and then thanks to our mayor, our city manager, deputy city manager, and the council president, everybody came together and we have Contour. I have people in my family that ride by every day to tell me what's different. I have not been over in that area and not seen that Costco business place just off the charts with support. So whatever they need to get this project done and completed, because this project is trending in the state of Michigan, I think we should allow it, because this is going to revitalize our downtown development. Organization is going to it's going to revitalize the actual businesses in that area, and maybe people would want to move in that particular area. And the state-of-the-art police precinct that they're going to give us back in that area is just awesome. So I'm in favor of this rezoning to Contour, and thank Contour so much for selecting Southfield, along with our city staff for selecting them as well.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak during the public hearing portion? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. Council, are there any questions? Councilman Cruz?
Yes, the question that I have is this a normal timeline to get this project done? Seems like it's just been way long. I've seen buildings go up faster than this before. What's taking so long with ours?
Well, it's not just one building, it's a 100-acre site, so I appreciate the concern and the timing. One of the things that was we had to refocus with the Costco project when that came along. So part of the process on buildings A and B, which are the first two in progress, had to get shifted to accommodate the accelerated schedule that Costco had to complete their project. The other portion of it that is rarely discussed anymore but is still existent is supply chain issues, and so we still are battling some of those. It's not necessarily in an overall product, it may be just in a part for that product. So we've experienced those issues as well, which we have resolved. The other part of this request is so that we can gain the funding, so that we can eliminate the supply chain issues, because it gives us more purchasing power to order, pre-order for the next buildings, and we can also negotiate better contracts with those suppliers because of all of our, all of the equipment we have to buy, the amount that we have to buy. So now that Costco is complete, we are able to, and with this request, we're able to address those two issues, the timing and the financial, which are both related to one another.
Good, thank you. I'm in favor of the rezoning. That wasn't a problem. I just want to see some people move in over there.
Yes, yes, agreed.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council? Mayor?
I think it would be instructional for both the council and the audience if you could give us an update. A lot of work has gone underground. I know there's a large storm drain retention area, so perhaps you could give us an update on where that's at.
The big portion of that for what was needed for Costco is in place. The remainder of that was put on hold because of some other, and that's in particular in what would be phase 1C, which is the yellow area. So what is necessary for what's in place now, meaning Costco, is currently working and in place. The remainder of that is associated with other parts of the project, but based on site conditions on 1C, we decided to hold that back until we worked through those issues of that site case that had to be reconfigured, so that we didn't have to have, purchased equipment, because it's all custom made for that. So we didn't want to take that too far until we worked through the site issues on that 1C area. Okay. So that's the reason we held back with installing that.
And I know I talked to David. Are we any closer to the foundations for the next two buildings?
F&G, currently the architectural set is in with the city. We have about a 95% complete set from the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which we foresee them submitting later this week. And then the site is going to follow right behind that for submission.
I'm talking about the next two buildings.
F&G?
Yeah.
Yes, the architectural plans for that are in the city currently. The mechanical, electrical, and plumbing will be coming in this week and be submitted, and then civil as well.
I know that a lot has been done, and I understand Councilman Cruz's concern. We all expected things to move a little faster, but when I go over there, I see steady progress. So, all right, thank you.
If I may, Madam President?
Yes.
This action speaks to the planning and zoning component, particularly the master deed. Under my portion of the agenda, there's a section where we'll, upon the approval and readjustment of the dates, the city will then sign off on various banking documents that indicate that they are in compliance with the schedule. The original schedule put together, we're currently not in compliance, which has been indicated earlier. So this resets those dates. It also puts in place for the financing, the permanent financing on what we call Phase A, which is buildings A and B, and then in the Phase 2, buildings F and G. So those are the buildings along Greenfield. That will follow under my portion of the agenda. We cannot sign off onto that until we're through the planning and zoning piece, and tonight is the introduction and first reading of that item.
Thank you. I do have one question. Are you still proposing to develop, is it condominiums above the Hudson City Market area at a future date?
Those are slated to be a boutique hotel. If you're looking at Phase 1I, the Hudson City Market, that's scheduled to be a boutique hotel for those 2 floors, the 2 top floors.
So the condominiums that were originally proposed at that location then will no longer be there?
Unfortunately, I cannot answer that. I was not with Contour at that time.
Because I thought I saw an increase in this plan in condominiums.
The increase is due to we're increasing the heights on the remaining buildings. So in Phase 1A, the buildings under the original submission were 5 stories, and we're actually 6 stories through other amendments. Phase 1B, we're adding an additional story to the 2 buildings, which will be buildings F and G. And then we anticipate for the remainder, which will be Phase 1C through G, so that on the screen it would be the lower half. All those would have additional stories to the buildings. So that's where we're getting the increase in units.
Madam Chair, you do recall that, yes, we're looking at condominiums for the Hudson's building. We never finalized that. We had 2 different versions. Part of it was the marketplace. There was always a discussion about some hotels. That part of the planning is still very fluid and going through the process. I know that the marketing team at Contours has had discussion with a number of hotel operators for something that I would classify almost as a boutique-type hotel that would focus on the healthcare component as well as serve that immediate neighborhood. But the actual final, what happens in the Hudson's building is still going through multiple gyrations. The immediate focus is on buildings A and B, and then the next 2 buildings, F and G, to build what we call that urban street wall along the Greenfield corridor.
Thank you for the clarification. I just thought the marketplace originally was on the 1st floor.
Yes.
With the condominiums above it, and I think it was either 4 floors. And I just found that to be a really exciting plan, and I hope we can go back to that. Because didn't we talk about the hotel being on the corner, like where Costco is, or where Vibe used to be?
It's
on
been
the original plan?
It's been discussed that it would be part of the original Hudson's building, the
Okay.
400,000 square foot box. At one point, we even looked at a hollow square in that. We looked at a number of gyrations of what could happen with the Hudson's building. And, I think it's best to be described as still a very fluid process. I know from time to time, there have been some national retailers still kicking the tire and waiting and watching what happens. I think as Councilman Cruz said a moment ago, one of the best things we can do here is get some people living here, get those rooftops, and that will begin to drive. Ms. Freeman and Ms. Lamone can speak to recent events with the ICSC, where I believe they had over 70 realtors on site. And if you look at the lower levels of Building A, you can see the retail stores have been framed in. Now that electrical switches that equipment is due any day, or has it come in?
Yes, we're slated to have, according to the schedule, we're slated to actually have that in towards the first part of the year, installed.
So we're moving forward, but this financing piece that we'll be asking for approval becomes critical to, to provide the capital to continue the progress.
Thank you.
I would just add that there was still consideration in Phase 2 for condos. The little jagged lines, on either side of the former Hudson store were at one time going to be condos. I think a lot of this, we're seeing a lot of topsy-turvy in the housing market and price of construction. So you can have a plan a couple of years ago, and other things have happened, including Costco. And we spent a lot of time this year also. I was involved with another major retailer there that backed out at the last minute. So, and that was the whole redesign of the Greenfield Northland Drive corner.
Thank you.
And one other thing I don't think's been mentioned, you have finished the site reclamation grant, which was the cleanup of the, pretty intense cleanup of the old Union Firestone.
Yeah, that was actually completed just several days ago, yes. There was a lot of unforeseen conditions on that.
Thank you. Council, we need a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approved PZR 0DD24-0002 as presented.
Support.
Moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilman Cruz, to approve the rezoning request ZR ODD 24-0002. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Madam President,
Chair,
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 1799.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the administration was trying to get your attention.
I wanted to ask, and if I may, so this is the first reading introduction. We'll be required to do a second reading. Is there any way to pull this together as an emergency so we can finalize the financial component under my piece?
Routine.
I guess, I don't know. I defer to the attorney.
And I apologize for not raising this question
Okay.
sooner.
Just give me a moment here. I want to read the actual section because,
Why not?
yeah.
Through the chair to Mr. Zorn. So if it's introduced tonight, it could be enacted on next Monday. Is that too late? Could yours be approved subject to the enactment next Monday? It gets enacted at the next regular meeting of the council, which happens to be Monday.
Okay.
So any approvals that are given to you under your item could be done subject to the enactment next Monday.
So the enactment will be next.
It'd be introduced tonight, and it would be enacted at the next regular meeting, which would be next Monday.
So we're going to act on this at the COW?
We can do that.
All right.
That's the way it's written.
Okay. Yep.
Is that all right?
Yes, if council
Because
doesn't
it is
approve the
still
Rule
a
10.
regular meeting, it's just conducted as a committee of the whole.
Yes, if
Okay.
council doesn't have an objection to doing a Rule 10 next week, then it could be enacted.
Okay, then we'll do it next week. Okay, so we have a motion to introduce ordinance number 1799 by Councilman Cruz. We need a support.
Support.
And supported by Councilman Hicks. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the ordinance 1799 has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Crowe, the next item is the zoning ordinance text amendment.
Yep, thank you, through the chair. Actually, these next two items is really cleaning up some ambiguity in our ordinance that was recently brought to our attention. We have a width of the driveway that's required based on angled parking, but there's also an ingress-egress width. We just want to clarify the differences between the two. That provides better clarity. This is working with the fire marshal and the city planner. Should a driveway aisle need to be enlarged based on emergency vehicles? It's not so much the width of the drive, it's the turning radius of the vehicle. What we found with the new ladder truck, the turning radius, the width is fine, but because the ladder extends out further, the turning radius needs to be greater. We're also trying to remove metric conversions from each of the subsections. Nobody's used metrics. I know there was a push in the 1970s. It's just a little bit confusing when we have all these metric standards and English standards in the ordinance. So this is the chart that would be updated based on driveway widths and aisle widths and clarification between ingress, egress, and so forth. It's really that simple, and there has been some questions about some conflicts with different sections of the ordinance not being consistent with each other.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that has any questions? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Council, are there any questions on this item? Okay, we have a motion, please?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approved PTZA 24-0005 zoning ordinance text amendment as presented.
Support.
Moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilwoman Haynes, to approve PTZA 24-005 zoning text amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. We also have an ordinance, 1800 to introduce, please.
Madam President,
Yes.
I move that we support ordinance number 1800.
Support.
Okay, moved by Councilman Hughes, Cruz, excuse me, Hughes, sorry, Cruz.
You were close.
Supported by Councilman Hicks to introduce ordinance number 1800. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ordinance passed. Mr. Crowe, the next item is a zoning text amendment.
Yes, thank you through the chair. Again, this is a clarification. We have 5 different districts that allow for drive-through restaurants and other similar types of retail. But in RS and B3, we have additional site development standards that are not required for the same use in the other districts. Each drive-through, it does require special land use, so there's already provisions in there should the council want to require additional standards. Now, recently, we had required ZBA waivers for Culvers on Southfield, Savvy Sliders on 12 Mile, Panda Express on Telegraph, and the Onyx Building Outlet, because we had separate standards for those drive-throughs. Again, what we're looking for is to eliminate specific standards in specific districts. They're covered under the special land use provisions. One of the examples was a screening wall would be required between 2 commercial buildings. There's certainly a screening wall is required between a drive-through and residential, but it didn't make sense to require it between commercial and commercial. And the applicants were always forced to go to the ZBA for waivers. So summary is to delete the extra standards in the B3 and RS districts to make the ordinance more consistent, to require fewer waivers, and rely on other comprehensive site development regulations combined with site plan review process to ensure proper site configurations. So this is just eliminating those duplicate or additional standards in two sections, RS and B3. And with that, we do require to have a public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, I will declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing that no one wants to speak, the public hearing is closed. Council, do you have any questions? Councilwoman Hogue?
No questions, I'm ready to move.
Okay.
Thank you. I move that we approve PTZA 24-0006 zoning ordinance text amendment to amend Title 5 zoning and planning, Chapter 45 zoning of the Code of the City of Southfield by amending Article 14, Section 5134 and Article 18, Section 5169 to modify the site development standards for drive-in, drive-through, and 24-hour restaurants in the RS and B3 zoning districts.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Hogue, supported by Councilman Hicks. And there's no questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Madam
motion
Chair?
passed. Yes.
I move that we introduce ordinance number 1801.
Support.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Hogue, supported by Councilman Cruz, that ordinance number 1801 be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is enactment of ordinance number 1798, rezoning requests for property located at 22575 and 22599 Telegraph Road. And this is from I-1 Industrial to B3 General Business, Next Generation Development. It's the gas station convenience store.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I move that we enact ordinance number 1798.
Support.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Councilwoman Hogue, supported by Councilman Cruz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we've got one person, Councilman Hicks, who is against. The motion has passed. The next item is a travel expense report of Councilman Hicks
Madam
for the
Chair?
Michigan Municipal League Conference Convention on Mackinac Island.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I move that we approve that expense report for Councilman Hicks for the MML Convention in Mackinac Island, September 11th through the 13th, 2024.
Support.
Okay, motion by Councilwoman Hogue, supported by Councilman Cruz, to approve the travel expense report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Thank you. Okay, Council, Councilman Brightwell, I'll start with you. Do you have anything to say this evening?
Yes, I just want to reiterate for veterans that you are entitled to emergency care even if you outside of the VA hospital. If you have an emergency, you can go to an emergency at a local hospital and/or you can go to the urgent care facility. The only requirement being that you are registered with the VA, with the Veterans Administration, to receive medical care. So the best thing to do to prepare for this in advance is to register with the Veterans VA, either the Dingle here in Detroit or the Ann Arbor facility, in Ann Arbor. Just to make sure you are registered by showing your DD 214, which in essence proves that you are a veteran. And if you do go to a local hospital for the emergency, whether or not there's something like a broken leg or whatever, that requires hospital care, within 72 hours, you have to inform the VA that you are in the hospital, and then by way of that, they will initiate authorization to pay that hospital bill. But the main thing of it is you're a veteran, and you have typically you had to have an honorable discharge. But the main thing is just to get registered with the VA. And we understand historically, it's only 47% of veterans are utilizing their useful benefits through the Veterans Administration. So all veterans, please go ahead and initiate your registration with the VA to start receiving all the benefits that you're entitled to, whether they're education, medical, housing, numerous things. So if you have an additional questions, you can reach me here at City Hall by way of the city's telephone number. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brightwell. Councilwoman Haynes?
All due respect, I think they were trying to come forward to make a presentation. Shouldn't they come forward?
No, they're the next one, right?
Well, you were using the
No,
no. Okay, I'm sorry, I just thought that they got
No.
up and sat down, so.
No, they came up, we're fine, thank you.
Well, I just didn't want us to be.
Councilwoman Haynes, do you have anything to add,
Yes,
please?
I do have some
Thank you.
things to add. I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure of that. Thank you.
No.
I wanted to remind the residents that we still have the Shop Small going on from now to November 30th. I do have some cards up here if anyone is interested. Please shop small and local. There are prizes to be won, and we would like some of our Southfield residents to receive those prizes. If you go to any of the local stores and make a purchase, take a selfie, scan the QR code, send in your information, you are entered into a drawing, which you have the opportunity to win $1,000, $500, or $250. I think this is really, really good, and it will put a lot of the Southfield businesses on the map. That's talking about the restaurants, retailers, and things like that. And also, when you win, those stores or retail organizations, restaurants have an opportunity to win as well. And we have had some winners from Southfield. Basically, what we're really trying to do is support small businesses here in the city of Southfield. And I think that's really, really important. Also, don't forget this Wednesday, starting at 6:30, Jazz and Blues at the Southfield Public Library. There's a charge. Please look at the library's website for that information. And I didn't get a chance to talk to Ms. Burke, but I think that when she talked about the dog ordinance, I would hope that she would see that, it's important that if we have complaints about those things, you can call, you can also let the local store know that you are not in support of those dogs being there. I was just in another state, and they are tightening up on these dog rules. Some people have these emotional support dogs that they are bringing in establishments, and they really have fake information about emotional support dogs, because there's been an excess of dogs in some of these stores and not legally supposed to be in there. And also there are some times when there's food and things involved where dogs should not be in certain stores. I do know that. And they are tightening up on that, so maybe she can also see what Lowe's has to say about that. Just real quick, this weekend we had the opportunity, well, not this weekend, last week, and just wrapped up from the National League of Cities 100th anniversary. I attended along with my colleague. There was a wealth of information that I hope that we can implement here. Some of those things that we receive resources on in the city of Southfield. Very, very excellent conference, very detailed information, lots of, it was fun to be had, but it was great to have the resource, the opportunity to attend to bring that information back to the city of Southfield. I'm really hoping that we can implement a lot of the things that we received, if not just to have some input on that. And on the last note, on a personal note, this year, last time, I was being sworn in as an appointed councilwoman, and I just want to say thank you to those that supported me, residents and colleagues. I hope that I have done my best to do what I can to support this city, and I will continue to do that. And I rely on the support and the teamwork that we built here together. And I hope that moving forward that we can continue as a team to work together. It's been a pleasure also working. I'm not going anywhere right now, but I just want to say thank you, and just to let people know that from my 1 year being here, I can see progress, and I can also see where we have a great team that we really do care about this city, and we really do look forward to working together to get some things done. And we stood proud in Tampa representing the city of Southfield and the state of Michigan. So thank you very much for that. I'm done.
Thank you, Councilwoman Haynes. Councilman Cruz?
Madam Chair, I do not have anything tonight.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Hicks?
No, nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hoag?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. And I have nothing to add this evening. Mayor?
Yes, good evening. Two things. On Saturday, we had the first day of the big break. We had 230 or 135 volunteers out, and we had, or we were able to finish 59 yards for our seniors.
Congratulations.
So we're still taking a few more. We're planning another day of over 100 volunteers this Saturday. You may want to consider, if you've been next door, it's filled with rakes and bags, so maybe next week we meet someplace else, like in here for the study session, I don't know. But anyhow, this is a great volunteer effort, and we have, last Saturday we had 125 students from Lawrence Tech, and we had 10 Ladies of Distinction. This is a club in Southfield. They've come every year, and they actually bring their kids as well to instill community service. The other thing I wanted to mention, on November 1st, the Habitat for Humanity Oakland County honored our city manager, Fred Zorn, with its 2024 Community Builder of the Year Award. So congratulations. It was a great night for Southfield at the annual Gala of Habitat for Humanity. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations, Mr. Zorn. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the second amendment to the Northland Supplemental Development Agreement with Contour Development. Mr. Zorn?
Thank you. As indicated during the public hearing, I am requesting that council approve the second amendment to the Northland Supplemental Development Agreement with Contour's Development. I made reference to this putting in place certain documents we're being asked to attest to regarding their financing. I've asked Grant Williams from Miller Canfield to join us. Paul Bargamian from Contours is also here, Dale, and Rochelle Freeman. Grant, Paul, and Shelley have been on this project since the beginning, and if Grant can perhaps just take a few minutes and explain
Sure.
what we're being asked to do.
Okay. This supplemental agreement, really with respect to Northland, Contour and the city have two agreements. One is the ODD that we have discussed in the previous agenda items. The other is the supplemental agreement. And the supplemental agreement pretty much parallels the ODD, but it adds a couple things into it. One, it governs the conveyance of any title of any of the property within the Northland development. And secondly, it gives the city certain rights and remedies. If Contour doesn't perform, it specifies what rights and remedies the city has. So again, this is really somewhat clerical with the conditional approval of those changes to the ODD agreement, but the supplemental agreement parallels that. I highlight in this amendment, every time you amend the ODD, you amend the supplemental agreement as well. And I just highlight in this agreement, we are approving, or the city would be approving, the conveyance of Phase 1A, which is Unit 1 within the condo, and Phase 1B, which is Unit 2 within the condo, to Contour affiliates. And that is done for the purposes of financing. Banks like to make sure that when they lend to a borrower, especially with respect to a real estate project, that borrower is focused on this one development and isn't spread thin across a lot of different areas. So that is why we would be approving that. In this also, the two affiliates that are brought in, the two Contour affiliates that are brought in, are agreeing to be subject with respect to their units to the provisions of the ODD and the provisions of the supplemental agreement, as well as the city's rights and remedies if the obligations aren't met. And so that gives the city the right to recapture their properties as well.
Thank you.
And if I may, in particular, we're asking for the mayor and clerk authority to sign the document, subject to the final review by the city, our city attorney, Dawn King. And we've been working on this the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and moves forward. Out of respect for the companies, I intentionally omitted the amounts, but we are talking roughly 35 million on the first piece and another 40 million on the second piece. And that puts in place your financing for the work to take us to the next step, finish buildings 1, A and B in Unit 1, and then puts in place the financing for F and G in Unit 2. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, no, you got that correct.
Thank you. Now, is this going to be subject to the enactment of ordinance number 1799, or just approve as is? Earlier.
Yeah, we're going to try to move this forward, but we can, if Monday is when this is enacted, when the ordinance is enacted, then we'll have this, that all the pieces will be aligned then.
But do you want added to the subject to enactment of ordinance 1799, or it's not necessary?
I don't think it's necessary at this point.
Okay.
We know that it's already been introduced.
I think we're all right without it. I mean,
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions on this item?
Madam Chair,
No? Yes.
I move that we approve this Second Amendment to the Northland Supplemental Development Agreement with Contour Development, along with giving the authorization to the clerk and the mayor to sign the agreement upon approval by the city attorney. Support.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Hoag, supported by Councilwoman Haynes, to approve the Second Amendment to the Northland Supplemental Development Agreement with Contour Development. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other items this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, the attorney.
Good evening. I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. And then our city clerk.
Wow, good evening. Hope you can hear me with this mask on. I just wanted to say that, wow, we just got done. We're not officially certified yet for the November general election. We're headed that way. Initial phases of canvassing and certification have been successful. So just want to let everyone know who's watching tonight, I'll be giving a more detailed, quantifiable report about our numbers, but we really did process an unprecedented amount of absentee ballots for this election, and also we had over 8,000 voters that showed up for early voting that took the pressure off of our election day polling locations, which I heard really helped us, get our numbers in timely that evening. So before I get finished, I want to thank our fiscal services area for being part of our receiving team to bring the voters in from our poll workers, in from the precincts to help them balance their reports. Our facilities department that helped deliver and set up our polling locations along with our code department. We have volunteers from other areas, from administration, and not just volunteers, but city staff that we were able to compensate to help us on election day. So it was a citywide effort and something very remarkable to see and witness and be part of such a monumental election. So also just wanted to just speak about the minutes because as the clerk, I'm responsible for that. And right now, currently, we are working in collaboration with city council leadership to bring the minutes up to date in a format that's acceptable to both parties. That's part of the reason why they're behind is because we were just trying to find a way to present the minutes the way Council President and Council Pro Tem are directing us. So thank you, and thank you for voting, and just go Lions.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
Are there any other questions this evening? If not?
Hold on.
Oh, yes. I'm
Well,
sorry.
we always like to see how Southfield compared to the total elsewhere. So will you be giving us a summary of the various races? I know that in Southfield, we did quite well for one of the candidates and not the other, when I'm talking about the presidential race. And I think we'd like to see, the bigger picture of how our community voted. I think it'd be instructive for all of us.
Yes, I think that would be.
I know you probably need a little time to get things settled.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, for understanding that. And it's forthcoming, especially with local elections next year. People are very interested in those demographics. So
And just personally, I was at a poll on Election Day. Things went very smoothly from what I saw. So I know this was your big test, so congratulations on getting through it. It's not easy, and I didn't get the total number of voters that turned out on November 5th, so.
okay, we'll have that information
Yeah,
very
it
soon.
was.
And I just want to just say that it was with all the help and all with the coordination and collaboration and the leadership that we have in the office already. I knew that when I was coming aboard that I had a great staff that could help accomplish this or accomplish this as I was learning. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other business, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.